Hello everyone and welcome back to some NASCAR Heat on the channel. Today something a little bit different. I'm here to show you guys all of the paint schemes here in the October DLC, which I'm just going to start showing right now, every single paint scheme on the DLC that you can download coming out very soon. So it seems to be a very throwback and all-star based pack here, as you're seeing a lot of all-star paint schemes. There was an Erik Jones throwback right there, but here we have a Clint Boyer all-star car, and personally I was a pretty big fan of what they did with the all-star cars. I mean, some of them looked really good, some of them looked like absolute garbage, but I think it's still really cool to have these in the game, and I definitely plan to use it in my career mode at some point. There was a couple new Erik Jones schemes, which is going to help us here, as I'll definitely be using them in the career mode. There you see a Josh Bilicki one, Chris Buescher's all-star car there, so not really different from his original scheme, other than obviously the number and the sponsor placement. Now as we go to Eric Almirola here with a Go Bowling throwback. There isn't a throwback for every single driver, I'm noticing here, unfortunately. Now as you see Kyle Busch's throwback, that was what, to Elliott Sadler way back in the early 2000s or whatever, but like I said, there's no Jimmy Johnson throwbacks in this pack from the looks of it, so that was a little bit disappointing. I was hoping to see those, but maybe we'll get those at a later date there. As you see the all-star car for Kyle Busch as well, that one actually looks pretty good. Then we got a Christopher Bell 95 car for the Ream paint scheme here, which is a pretty nice looking car. Actually, I'm a pretty big fan of that paint scheme. Then you got Eric Almirola's all-star car. I felt like this one, out of all the all-star cars, is one of the better ones now, as we're going to move over into the Ryan Blaney. That is a really nice paint scheme right there. I think that's one of the best paint schemes in this pack personally. It looks great, honestly, now. And then we have his all-star car, and I thought they did a decent job as well with his all-star car. It would have been really cool if they could have somehow implemented the underglow on these all-star cars or something. Then we got William Byron's, and I think that one, I'm not a fan of that paint scheme one bit. I think the color is awful, and then it just doesn't work there. As you see, we got an Alex Bowman car. That's a really nice paint scheme. I'm a big fan of that. Obviously, the news just came out today. The 88 will not be returning. Kyle Larson will be in the number 5 for Hendrick Motorsports now next season, as we got another Kyle Busch car here. I thought we already had a scheme like that in the game. Now as we got a throwback from Clint Boyer. That's not a bad looking car. Obviously, if you watch my career mode, it will be Chase Briscoe in that 14 car from now on. Then we got William Byron's Liberty University paint scheme that has now come into the game. I'm a huge fan of that scheme. I think it's one of the best looking paint schemes in the NASCAR grid just in general right now. There's to see Daniel Suarez's 2016 throwback to his Xfinity Series Championship. I'm a fan of that scheme. I got the diecast of his Xfinity car, quite a few Suarez diecasts. Then we got the All-Star car. As well, as you guys know, Suarez is one of my favorite drivers here on the grid now. So very nice to see some new Suarez paint schemes. Martin Truex Jr.'s throwback there for the Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boats car. Not a bad looking paint scheme, but I'm not a huge fan of it. At the same time, there as we have the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s All-Star car. I think that one is just really too plain. I don't like that one at all personally. Now as we have the 8 of Tyler Reddick's throwback, I'm not actually sure what that's a throwback to, so if you guys could let me know maybe in the comments, then definitely let me know. Now as we're going to go over to now another all-star car for Tyler Reddick. That one doesn't look too bad now, and I was a little bit disappointed. I didn't see Matt Kenseth's all-star car in this, unless I just missed it, but I thought that was the best looking all-star car on the whole all-star weekend, and I didn't see it in here, I don't think, but that would have been really nice to have. Now as you see Ryan Newman paint schemes again, we've gotten quite a few Ryan Newman paint schemes in this game so far. That car right there, I'm not a huge fan of that paint scheme either, but we got it anyways. Now as we have the all-star car as well for Ryan Newman there in the Oscar Mayer paint scheme, so that one doesn't look too bad. Just his normal paint scheme, just with the all-star, difference now, as we have a all-star version as well of the 38 car. I think that one actually looks pretty good here. What they did with just the red and black, I think that's a really nice paint scheme. I didn't even know that was a thing. And then we have his throwback as well for John Hunter Nemechek. So quite a few throwbacks, like I said, very throwback and all-star heavily based. Now as we got Logano's throwback as well. Not sure what that one's a throwback to either, but still an overall solid looking paint scheme here for Logano. Then we got his all-star car. Was not a fan of this one. I just don't think it looks very good, just kind of with the paint scheme that Penske tried to go with. This one, though, is one of the best all-star paint schemes on the grid. Look at that 37 Ryan Preece car. That looks incredible. There's we have the 34. That one actually doesn't look too bad either, other than like the where the sponsor usually is on the quarter panel, just it's missing there, and it just looks really weird. I think they should have honestly still put a sponsor there. There's we have Keselowski's throwback to I think what his 2010 Xfinity Series championship, or back when it was called the Nationwide Series. And then we got a 00 Quinn Half car throwback as well, which looks all right. Then we got Hamlin's throwback car. Nice to see something other than a FedEx car for Denny Hamlin. Although it is FedEx, I should say. It's nice to see something than his just plain FedEx cars. We have Chase Elliott's All-Star paint scheme as well. He obviously won the All-Star races here at Bristol Motor Speedway. All-Star race moving to Texas or whatever next year. Going to be certainly a very boring race over at Texas, I think. Now is Austin Dillon's throwback. Very nice inspired paint scheme right there. And then we got Hamlin's All-Star paint scheme as well. Then we're going to jump over to an Eric Jones paint scheme again, which you're going to see me use in the career mode there. His All-Star paint scheme. I'm only going to use that like once throughout the season, maybe. I mean, unless you guys want to see me use it more. And then we got Jimmy Johnson's, the only Jimmy Johnson scheme, I think, now. The obviously white version of his Ally paint scheme. Very nice paint scheme. I thought that Ally paint scheme, just in general, was one of the best ones on the grid this season. Austin Dillon's All-Star paint scheme. Then we got Cole Custer's Throwback there. Not a huge fan of that one, to be honest, but I still think it's a pretty cool just concept now, as we're going to jump over to now the 21 of Matt Benedetto. Not a whole lot of Benedetto paint schemes in this game, so very nice to see him get another one, the All-Star car. I think that one looks really good. And then we got his throwback as well. I really feel like just in general, the All-Star kind of concept really has grown on me as time has gone on. Then we got Cole Custer's All-Star car as well. And like before, when this first came out, when they were first announcing this concept, I was like, I was down for it, but it just didn't look good. But now it's really growing on me. But here we jump through into some Xfinity paint schemes. There's a few more Cup ones coming up a little bit later, and we got some truck schemes as well there for Austin Wayne Self, which is pretty much the same one, just different sponsors there. Then Rafael Lessard, he's got a brand new paint scheme. Actually, it's a pretty nice looking paint scheme, and I haven't kept up with trucks very much this season. I only watched like Daytona, and that was it. So I'm really unfamiliar with all of these paint schemes, but I think this one here for Christian Eckes looks really cool. Then we jump over to Chad Fincham. I think that's a throwback just based off of the number font. It looks kind of old, but like I said, not 100% sure. And then we got the 08 of Joe Graff Jr. That guy follows everybody on Twitter. I know that much, and I mean that's a pretty cool paint scheme. And then we got Spencer Boyd with, I believe that's a Todd Bodine throwback from like 2010 or 11 or something like that, which is actually a pretty good looking paint scheme. There's Chad Fincham has another one, very simple paint scheme there for the 13 car. And then we jump over to the 38 of Todd Gilliland, the Crossley sponsored truck, so like a team sponsored truck there now, as Haley Deegan is in that truck in my career mode, as I've put her there if you guys are unaware of that. Now, as we have Stuart Friesen with a new scheme, or sponsor I should say, and then we have some more paint schemes actually for Daniel Hemrick here, and in that 8 car, the on deck car. And then we go to Grant Enfinger, who's got a brand new paint scheme as well. Really nice to see them giving some love to the truck series as well as the Xfinity series with these DLCs, of course. Now Spencer Boyd actually has 2 paint schemes, as he had that throwback, and now he has that one as well. And then we have Jeremy Clements with the Fly and Form paint scheme. I don't know what that is personally, but that's what he's got. And then Brandon Jones has another one. We drove that car back in the career mode quite a few seasons ago now, when we were in the Xfinity series. Then we have Alex LeBay with a new paint scheme as well. Not a huge fan of that one. It just seems kind of cartoony. I'm not a huge fan. Now is Michael Annette's Oreo car, a throwback to Dale Jr., is there. That's a really cool looking car. Really cool that they got that in the game. In general, a new scheme for Harrison Burton. That's just a different sponsor on the hood, because you can't really see it there, but that's what that is. And then Bubba Wallace has another Cash App car. Huge fan of Cash App in NASCAR. I think that is really, really cool. So very nice to see that come into effect. There's Justin Allgaier. This is probably my favorite throwback in the Xfinity series right here. Another Dale Jr. throwback. I think that is a very cool paint scheme right there on his car. And then we got Harrison Burton's throwback. No idea what that's a throwback to be honest, but still looks pretty good nonetheless. And then another Jeremy Clements paint scheme here in the 51. And then we got just 2 more paint schemes to show here in the October DLC. A Bubba Wallace All-Star car there. He actually got wrecked in the showdown. Unfortunately, I was definitely cheering for Bubba to make it into the All Star race, and unfortunately he didn't. And there's the final scheme right there of Ross Chastain's 10 Xfinity car. So those are all the October DLC paint schemes that I was able to get my hands on and see. And if you guys enjoyed, you do know what to do, and I'll see you guys in the next one, which will likely be a career mode video. So thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch, and have yourselves a great day, everybody.